Most people believe that after 60, the brain only goes in one direction. Slower, smaller, less sharp. You forget a name, you lose a word mid-sentence, you walk into a room and have no idea why you're there. And you tell yourself, this is just aging, this is normal, this is how it goes. I believed that too. For the first decade of my career, that's what the textbook said. The adult brain does not grow new cells. What you have is what you have. Protect what's left. That turned out to be wrong. Profoundly, completely wrong. My name is Dr. Jade. I'm a neurologist, and today I'm going to tell you about a process that most people over 60 have never heard of, and a morning drink that directly triggers it. Not metaphorically, not approximately, through a specific, documented biological mechanism that researchers now consider one of the most important discoveries in brain science in the last 30 years. Stay with me, because what you do in the first 20 minutes of your morning may matter more to your brain than anything else you do all day. Let me start with the science, because once you understand what's actually happening, everything else clicks into place. The process is called neurogenesis, the creation of brand new neurons, brain cells, in the adult human brain. For most of the 20th century, scientists were certain this didn't happen. You were born with your neurons, you lost them slowly, and that was that. Then in the late 1990s, everything changed. Researchers confirmed that one specific region of the brain, the hippocampus, continues generating new neurons throughout a person's entire life, even at 70, even at 80. Why does the hippocampus matter? Because it is the brain's memory center. It is where new memories are formed, where navigation happens, where the early damage of Alzheimer's disease begins. When the hippocampus shrinks, and in many people over 60 it does, roughly 0.5% per year, memory starts to go. The words don't come, the names disappear. The familiar route suddenly feels unfamiliar. But here is what changed my practice, and ultimately what this video is about. That shrinkage is not inevitable. And the driver of new cell growth in the hippocampus is a protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Some researchers call it Miracle-Gro for the brain, and they're not wrong. BDNF tells your hippocampus to grow, to repair, to generate new connections. High BDNF levels in older adults are consistently associated with better memory, sharper thinking, slower cognitive decline, and meaningfully lower rates of dementia. Low BDNF levels are associated with the opposite. And here is the part that matters most for what we're talking about today. BDNF levels are not fixed. They are not determined by genetics alone. They are profoundly responsive to what you put into your body, starting with what you drink in the morning. Before I tell you what the drink is, I want to tell you about a patient. I'll call her Margaret. Margaret was 68 when she first came to see me. Retired school teacher, sharp her whole life, proud of her memory. She told me she could once recall every student's name, every parent's face, 30 years of report cards. That was who she was. She came to me because she was frightened. In the past year, she'd been forgetting appointments, losing words in conversation. Her daughter had started finishing her sentences for her, and that embarrassed her deeply. Her scans were not alarming. No tumors, no stroke damage, no dramatic findings. But her hippocampal volume was at the low end of normal for her age. And her BDNF levels, we had tested them, were significantly below where I wanted to see them. I told Margaret that before we discussed anything else, I wanted her to make one change, just one, for 6 weeks. Every morning, within 30 minutes of waking, before coffee, before breakfast, before anything else, she would drink something specific. 6 weeks later, she came back. She brought her daughter, and before I could say anything, the daughter said, "Whatever you told her to do, keep telling her." We'll come back to what happened at Margaret's follow-up, because the reason her story ends the way it does is the whole point of this video. So, the drink. There are several options I'm going to walk you through, each with its own mechanism and its own evidence base. Not all of them will suit every person. By the end, you'll know exactly which one fits your life. Option 1. Lion's mane mushroom tea. If you've never heard of lion's mane, the name comes from its appearance, a white, shaggy mushroom that looks remarkably like a lion's mane. It has been used in traditional East Asian medicine for centuries. Modern neuroscience has spent the last 2 decades figuring out why it works. The answer is 2 specific compounds, hericenones and erinacines. These molecules do something extraordinary. They cross the blood-brain barrier, the protective filter between your bloodstream and your brain, and they directly stimulate the production of nerve growth factor and BDNF. They are, as far as we currently know, among the very few natural compounds that can do this reliably. A 2009 randomized controlled trial published in Phytotherapy Research, a peer-reviewed journal, found that adults with mild cognitive impairment who took lion's mane daily for 16 weeks showed significantly improved cognitive function compared to placebo. When they stopped taking it, scores declined again. When they resumed, scores improved. That's a meaningful signal. How do you take it? Lion's mane tea, made from a quality extract powder, not a weak blend, not a capsule crushed into water, a proper dual extract powder with both the fruiting body and the mycelium, dissolved in hot water, 500 to 1,000 milligrams per serving. The water should be around 80 degrees Celsius, not a rolling boil. Add a small amount of honey if you need it. The flavor is mild, slightly earthy, genuinely pleasant. Drink it within 30 minutes of waking on an empty stomach. That timing matters. First thing in the morning, your gut is empty, absorption is faster, and BDNF stimulation happens during the window when your brain is most neuroplastic, most ready to respond. Option 2. Beet juice. This one surprises people. It doesn't sound like a brain drink. It sounds like something for athletes, for blood pressure. And yes, it does those things. But here's what most people don't know. Beets are extraordinarily high in dietary nitrates. When you drink beet juice, those nitrates convert in your body to nitric oxide. Nitric oxide dilates blood vessels. It opens them up, increases blood flow. And when blood flow to the brain increases, oxygen and glucose delivery to the hippocampus increases with it. BDNF production responds to that increase in cerebral blood flow. More oxygen to the hippocampus means more signal for neurogenesis. A study from Wake Forest University found that older adults who drank beet juice before exercise showed significantly increased blood flow to the frontal lobe, the brain's executive control center, compared to placebo. The combination of beet juice and movement may be one of the most powerful BDNF triggers available to an older adult without a prescription. 200 to 250 milliliters of cold-pressed beet juice first thing in the morning, not from concentrate, not beet-flavored water, real cold-pressed beet juice with the nitrates intact. If the taste is too strong for you, a small amount of apple or ginger makes it considerably more approachable. One caution. If you take medication for blood pressure, talk to your doctor before adding daily beet juice. The nitric oxide effect is real and meaningful, and combining it with antihypertensive medication without awareness can push pressure lower than intended. Option 3. Green tea, but prepared correctly. This is the most accessible option, likely already in your cupboard. But here is where almost everyone goes wrong, and it makes a dramatic difference in effectiveness. Green tea contains 2 compounds that matter enormously for brain health. The first is EGCG, epigallocatechin gallate, a polyphenol that has been shown in multiple studies to reduce the accumulation of amyloid plaques, the protein deposits associated with Alzheimer's disease. The second is L-theanine, an amino acid that crosses the blood-brain barrier and increases alpha brainwave activity, the state associated with calm, focused alertness. It also directly increases BDNF levels. But here's the problem most people have. They steep green tea with boiling water for 2 minutes and get a fraction of the active compounds and a bitter, unpleasant cup. The correct preparation is water between 70 and 80 degrees Celsius, steeped for 3 to 5 minutes. At that temperature, EGCG extraction is optimal and the tea is smooth, not bitter. The difference in taste alone is remarkable. The difference in efficacy is significant. 2 cups in the morning, not with milk. The proteins in milk bind to the polyphenols and reduce absorption. Plain, or with a small amount of lemon, which actually increases EGCG bioavailability. Now, here's the most important thing I'll say in this entire video, and I want you to hear it clearly. None of these drinks work as a standalone intervention. They are one piece of a system. They are morning signals, powerful ones, but the brain responds to signals that are consistent and layered. What amplifies everything I've described is movement, specifically aerobic exercise within 2 hours of your morning drink, even a 20-minute walk. Exercise is the single most potent BDNF trigger we know of. It can increase levels by 200 to 300% in a single session. The morning drink primes the mechanism. The movement fires it. What suppresses everything I've described is chronic inflammation, poor sleep, and ultra-processed food. These 3 things actively suppress BDNF production. You can drink lion's mane tea every morning and eat a processed diet every evening, and you will reduce the benefit significantly. The drink opens the door. Your overall lifestyle determines what walks through it. Let me come back to Margaret. At her 6-week follow-up, her daughter sat beside her and told me that her mother had started finishing her own sentences again, that she'd recalled the name of a student she hadn't thought of in 15 years, completely spontaneously at the dinner table, that she seemed, in her daughter's words, more like herself. Margaret told me she hadn't changed anything else. Same diet, same activity level, same routine. The only addition was lion's mane tea every morning within 30 minutes of waking. I retested her BDNF at 12 weeks. It had risen by 34%. I want to be careful here because medicine demands precision. One patient is not a clinical trial. Individual responses vary. Margaret's result was encouraging, not a guarantee, but it matched what the research consistently shows, that when you give the brain the specific inputs it needs to support neurogenesis, it responds. Not always dramatically, but measurably. And measurably, over time, is everything. Let's bring this all together, because information without action is just anxiety, and I don't want to leave you there. 3 morning drinks, each with a documented mechanism for increasing BDNF and supporting neurogenesis in the adult brain after 60. Lion's mane tea directly stimulates NGF and BDNF through hericenones and erinacines. 500 to 1,000 milligrams of dual extract powder in 80-degree water on an empty stomach within 30 minutes of waking. Beet juice drives nitric oxide production, increases cerebral blood flow to the hippocampus, amplifies BDNF response, especially when followed by movement. 200 to 250 milliliters of cold-pressed juice first thing in the morning. Check with your doctor if you're on blood pressure medication. Green tea, EGCG, reduces amyloid accumulation. L-theanine directly increases BDNF and promotes alpha brainwave activity. 70 to 80 degree water, 3 to 5 minutes steep, no milk. 2 cups. Pick one. Start tomorrow morning. Give it 6 weeks before you judge the result. And here's the one question I want you to ask at your next appointment. Write it down before you forget. Has my BDNF level ever been tested? And would it be appropriate to measure it given my age and cognitive health concerns? That question opens a conversation most doctors never start on their own, and it is absolutely worth starting. What question do you most want to ask your doctor about your brain health? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if this video helped someone you love understand that the brain is not a fixed, declining machine, that it responds, it adapts, it grows, share it. That share might be the most important thing you do today. Take care of your brain. It has been working for you every single moment of your life without once asking for anything in return. One last thing. Everything I've shared today is general medical information based on current neuroscience research and my clinical experience. Every person's situation is unique. Before adding any new supplement or making changes to your morning routine, please speak with your own physician. They know your full history. That conversation, honest, specific, and unhurried, is exactly where good medicine